Week 4, pantry challenge. Technically we should be done Saturday, but it's January, that never ends, so we have 2 days into next week that we gotta finish. So, I've enjoyed it, I admit, I have enjoyed it. I'm tired though. No matter how much, even when you enjoy something, you kind of like to have a break, and I want a break from making supper. Anyway, I'm a little bit of a mess today. The kitchen's a mess. Welcome to Messy Kitchen. The reno is still happening. So today I'm making taco soup. It was on the menu plan for last Sunday, but it didn't get done. So I'm doing it today. Menu planning is getting shooken up quite a bit this week because of things we were running out of. So first thing we're going to use is chicken broth. I made this yesterday. I've actually been pressure canning it all morning here. So that's 2 cups. And I did not have enough. It was just too far below the inch mark, so we're going to use a little bit more than 2 cups. So 3 cups of chicken stock. So I have some chicken breast here. I think you can see that. And I just cooked this in the oven for a few minutes, just because, truth be told, I hate touching raw chicken. I know, but I got pregnant with my daughter. Chicken was not my friend, and it took 2 years after she was born before I could even eat it again. So, yeah. So I'm just going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. And I'm going to say this was 2 chicken breast. Yeah, it was 2 chicken breast. Okay, there's the chicken. Let's move this for now. Okay, and recipe calls for canned corn. I don't have any, so I'm just going to put some frozen in. You know what? I'm putting the rest of that in. It's about 1.5 cups. And it also calls for canned tomatoes. I'm out of canned tomatoes. So I have a can of salsa that I made last fall. So I'm just going to use that. I mean, it is taco soup, so it'll add some more flavoring, so why not? So there's a jar of that. I have to count up my jars. I think I've emptied 12 jars now since the challenge started. So 12 jars is not bad. I've emptied a lot of stuff out of my freezer too. So, okay. And making that chicken broth, bone broth, the last couple of days, I got, I think, 4 or 5 frozen bags of turkey and chicken carcasses and bones out of my freezer. So, that's a lot of space out of there, which we needed out of there. I'm just going to drain these beans. Okay, black beans are drained. It also calls for pinto beans. Again, I don't have any, so I'm just adding the black beans. And then my taco seasoning. I'm going to add 2 heaping teaspoons. So this recipe is originally from Weight Watchers. I was doing Weight Watchers a few years ago, plus 50 pounds. But then COVID hit and you couldn't meet anymore, so I stopped. But I still like a lot of their recipes. So this is one of them. All right, give this a stir. Taco soup. Put it on low. And it's only 9 o'clock this morning, so that's going to go all day. I have to finish up. I have 3 more jars. Look at this. Beautiful liquid gold. 3 more jars of turkey broth to pressure can. I didn't videotape it because until I get a little bit more comfortable with the pressure canner, I want to make sure I'm doing everything right before I start sharing the videos. I did share the one the very first time so people could see. It's scary, but I'm so glad I'm doing it. It's a lot less scary the more you do it. And I've done carrots now, and now I've done turkey broth. So the more I'm getting comfortable, the more I'm do it. I'd love to do some of my own beans. Pressure canning my own beans, so we have a good stock of those. So there we go. That is, I'll show you how I serve it up later tonight. Might be doing a little twist because we don't have everything I normally would use. So I'll show you this evening when that's done cooking. Well, supper time is here, and turkey soup. Been a long day. Taco soup is all done. I think I mentioned earlier, I had made a bunch of turkey broth. Look at that. One of them did not seal at all. I could tell it already wasn't. It had lost quite a bit of its volume. So I ended up putting another quart of chicken broth in this. So altogether it was 2 quarts and a pint that end up going in. But that's okay because more turkey broth is not a bad thing. So now I normally cut some tortillas into strips, bake them, and kind of put them on top. We're out of them. I had another bag of them, but we don't. But I did make bread today for the week, so we're gonna have a nice slice of bread with a little butter on it and to go with it. So here is soup. Smells really good. And that is the end of day 23. So, a little over a week to go. 8 more days to go in the pantry challenge. It's time to have my soup warm up. Calling for another big storm tomorrow. So it might be a big baking day. If it is, I'll be videotaping it. Time to take off my apron finally and relax for the evening. We'll see you tomorrow for day 24. Day 24 pantry challenge, and tonight's a favorite. I like this one a lot. It's teriyaki beef stir fry. And like most recipes I do, I just kind of get my inspiration from a recipe and then do my own thing. I will share the exact recipe, but just know that I'm not following it exactly. So right now in my bowl I have roughly 2 teaspoons of minced ginger and 2 teaspoons, actually it's more than 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I'm going to say it's probably more like 3 because we like garlic. So I also I needed soy sauce. Yes, I ran out, and yes, I went to the store. I did use my points, so I didn't use any cash to buy it. This was insanely expensive. It was the only thing they had. So, but I needed it for this recipe, or I wasn't going to have anything for supper tonight. So anyway, I need a 1/4 cup. So what we ended up getting was, it's called Naked and Saucy, organic soy sauce substitute. It's coconut aminos is what it is, but okay, so we need 1/2 cup of that. And I need 1/2 cup of water. Okay, 1/2 cup of water. And a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And can you pass me my... Thank you. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And the garlic and ginger's already in there. And I need a tablespoon of honey. I'm just wondering if I can I think I'm going to add just a little bit of oil to this just so the honey will come out easier. So the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of minced garlic and 2 teaspoons of minced ginger. I probably used at least 3 of the garlic. And probably a little bit more than 2 teaspoons of the ginger, but I like it. It smells so good. Okay. And that's it for the sauce. give this a stir. And I'm going to meet you over at the stove. Okay, so we're over at the stove, and because my oven, have I mentioned how much I hate this oven? Well, not except my wok. We bought this. It is still induction because this is an induction pan. So we bought this so we can actually use it for this and my canner too. So this is my first time using it. So let me see if I can figure this out. Mode. Okay, so I'm going to put it on 320 degrees. That might be, we'll see. And I have 1 or 2 tablespoons roughly of olive oil in there. And I've just been draining some vegetables from the freezer. So I've got some broccoli and bell peppers. Normally I would like to do this with, got some water in there. Normally I would like to do this with pea pods, but I don't have any. And truthfully, I did go and hope to buy some pea pods at the grocery store, and there was none to be found. So it kept me on the pantry challenge. Bad enough I bought the soy sauce, not soy sauce. Okay, so we're just going to fry these up. Until they get to the tenderness we like. My husband likes them a little bit cooked more than I do. I can eat them either way, it's no big deal. So I'm going to let these cook for a couple of minutes, and I'll be back when they're done. Okay, so the vegetables have been cooking for about 3 minutes. I'm not sure why this is blinking at me. Okay, so I have about 2 tablespoons of water. I'm just going to add to these and let them cook for about another minute or so. And while they're doing that, I'm going to get my strainer out because we actually have to take these out and cook the meat, and then we'll put everything back together. So give me just a second to get the strainer. Okay, so the water is pretty much evaporated. So we're going to take these all out. Doesn't like that being gone. Okay. Okay, we're going to set those aside. And now I'm going to start cooking the meat. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this down. Wow, that is too high. Okay. These don't take long. So you can do this with chicken. We're doing it with steak, because one, that's what we have and what we like. And okay, so we're going to let this go. You guys turn that down too low. So I'm just going to keep cooking up the steak. I end up doing 2 packages. I always like to make extra because then we have some for lunch the next day or 2. So I'm going to finish cooking up the steak, and I'll bring you back when the steak's all done. So the last of the steak is cooking up, and I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch here and 2 tablespoons of water, and I'm just mixing that up. Make sure it's good and dissolved. I've got all my steak and veggies in that bowl. These are just about done. Hope the angle's okay. I lost my camera person while she eats her supper. So that's just about. Doesn't take long. They're so thin, these strips, so let's just scrape this up. Alright, so I'm gonna dump the sauce in. And then to that, we're going to add our cornstarch. So we want this to get a little bit thick. All this back into here. Stir this up. And I'm going to let it cook probably for a couple of minutes. Vegetables have been out for a few minutes, so they probably cool down a bit. Okay, so I'm going to let that go and let it thicken, and we'll be right back. So here what it looks like after 2 or 3 minutes. It gets a lot thicker, as you can see. Nice thick sauce. And I just put some rice into the microwave. Yes, I use the microwave. It's not my favorite appliance, but sometimes it's handy. And we have a lot of this kind of rice right now. I do have the kind that you cook, but I'm going to be honest, I never have much luck cooking rice. I don't know why it's so difficult for me, but it is. So, okay, just going to get this served up and show you how it looks. Okay, so I just put some rice in the bottom of the bowl. And then I scoop up. Get him a little bit more vegetables there. I think I should have added maybe a little bit more of the broccoli and some of the peppers. There's a lot more meat than veg, but we'll definitely have some for lunch tomorrow, that's for sure. Okay. And there you have it. Teriyaki beef stir fry. One of my favorites. And so that ends day 24. 25 again is going to be leftovers. We're going to actually have the rest of that taco soup, chicken taco soup. That was amazing. It was so good. And I know it was because of the homemade chicken broth. The flavor in it was dynamite. It was so good. My husband really liked it. So we'll have that tomorrow night. So I won't be filming tomorrow night. We love leftovers in this house. My mother and I were just talking because she was talking to a friend of hers, and they had mentioned how they hate leftovers. They don't eat them in their house, leftovers. And let's face it, a lot of things taste better the next day. Pastas, like spaghetti, lasagna. This beef stir fry will be awesome tomorrow. There's so many things that meatloaf always tastes better the next day or the day after. So we love leftovers. So we will be eating that tomorrow. Day 26 of Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. Halfway through week 4. Woohoo! And supper has become a complete 180 from what we were going to have. For a few reasons. It's brutally cold here in our part of Ontario today. It was minus 26 Fahrenheit when we got up this morning, which is pretty much the same Celsius. It was cold. And it's still cold. I mean, I've got my big heavy Irish sweater on in the house because it's so cold. And we have the heat on, but it's cold. So I originally was going to make homemade spaghetti sauce and have 3 cheese tortellini fresh pasta that I have in the fridge that needs to be used up. It's a little backstory. I made my own pizza sauce last fall, which is essentially spaghetti sauce. You know, you add a few more things to it, you got spaghetti sauce. And my mom got me an immersion blender stick for my birthday last November. So I was pretty excited because that meant, oh, I don't have to peel the tomatoes. I can just blend them all up. Worked great. We had spaghetti, we had pizza one night, not too long after I made it. And my husband and I had heartburn like I've never experienced, not even pregnancy heartburn. And I had pretty bad pregnancy heartburn. We had the acid reflux. It was so painful, like tears to your eyes. And come to find out, tomato skins cause a lot of people severe heartburn. So yeah, now I've since still used that, and I just add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda to the pot, and it does seem to definitely neutralize it. But so I filmed a video of me making the sauce and everything in the crock pot. I tested it a few hours later. I needed a lot more spices, like a lot more. And I mean, I'm telling you, I just tested it a little bit, just a little teeny bit. So I pretty much doubled all the spices and everything. Let it cook for a few more hours. Went to test it here again around 3:30. And it still had a little bit of, it had more flavor than at noon, but it still didn't taste that great. In the next half hour, I started getting the acid reflux, heartburn in my throat. And I mean, I didn't even have equivalent of a teaspoon between the 2 times. And my husband's saying he already has some heartburn from either what was for supper last night or this morning, or I'm trying to think what he ate for lunch today. We just had grilled cheese today. He did have leftover goulash for lunch yesterday, and maybe the tomato soup was too much. And he said he didn't want to say anything, but he kind of really wasn't really looking forward to spaghetti. I said, well, it doesn't taste all that great. I hate to waste it, but I think it might be going. So I said, well, on the menu for tomorrow night was breakfast for supper. Why don't we just do that tonight? It's so cold. Sounds good, and everyone was happy. So I'm making some pancakes. And instead of making blueberry pancakes, I'm going to make blueberry syrup. So at least I'll have a little something to show you. Not fancy, but I want to film that we are still doing the pantry challenge. Instead of running out to the store to find something, we are going to do what we have from our pantry. We're going to use what we have from our pantry. There's the culprit right here if you want to see the the crock pot. See, it's still here. It's still warm, waiting for it to cool down so we can get rid of it. So I'm going to make a double batch. So this recipe is double. And at least I'm excited because I get to try my new whisk I got. The Danish whisk. I've been reading a lot about it, seeing other videos with it, so I thought we'd try it. So, okay. So in here, I'm going to do 2 cups of flour. I'm going to have to push up my sleeves. There we go. There's 1. 2. We're also going to cook up some of our bacon that we got from our farmer to go with it, and we're going to use the air fryer for that. Okay, so 2 cups of flour, and I need 2 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2. 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon, or 1/2 teaspoon salt, and this is okay. So, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Actually 4, because I'm doubling it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how much baking and cooking I've done. That was full when I started mid-December-ish. So, and it's down to like here. So that's definitely going on the list for things for next week. Did I only do 2? I need to do 4. Hold on, I gotta rewind the video. I can't remember. I did do 4. Thank goodness for video. Okay, so we're just gonna stir all the dry ingredients. Okay, make a little, well, I can't really make a well with this kind of whisk. Okay, so right here, this is buttermilk, but I used powdered buttermilk because we just hardly ever have the liquid kind unless it's for a recipe, and then we usually have a bunch left. So I started buying powdered buttermilk, and it's a 1/4 cup for 2 cups because I'm doubling this. So it'd be 1/8 of a cup per 1 cup of water. So there's 2 cups of water and a 1/4 cup of buttermilk in here. And I'm gonna pour that in. And these are 2 beaten eggs. And I need 2 tablespoons. Oh, my oil was over here. 4 tablespoons of any cooking oil. I'm using my coconut oil. And boy, do we need to get more of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Just realized you can't see what I am doing. There, that's better. Okay, we're gonna give this a stir. Hey, I think I like this whisk. Just wish the handle wasn't so big on it. Honestly, that worked pretty cool. I really didn't think there was going to be that big a deal, but we're done. So I have this, and you pull it, and the paint, I'll show you when we use it. I love this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the batter in here, and we're going to let the batter sit while we get to the bacon. And that, it's not going to hold it all. The baking powder or something is reacting with the buttermilk. Okay, so there. We're going to let that sit. We still have quite a bit left here, so we'll be making a lot of pancakes tonight. Okay, so I'm going to clean up a little bit. I'm going to get our air fryer preheating. And I'll be right back. Okay, the air fryer is ready. See if I can get this bacon out of here. Oop, I broke off a piece. All right. Greasy. All right, I'm gonna set that for 8 minutes. Okay, so while the bacon is cooking in the air fryer, I am going to get started on the blueberry syrup. So I have, oh gosh, maybe 2 cups of blueberries there. And I put about a cup of water in with them because I took them out of the freezer just so they could start thawing out. And I'm using that water because you need about a cup of water. So, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I have some Meyer lemon juice that I froze. So 2 tablespoons. Meyer lemon juice, and I've got quite a bit left, so I'll have to figure out something to do with that tomorrow. And I need, I'm only going to do about a 1/4 cup of sugar. 1 making a mess all over here tonight. Okay, so we're gonna get this on here. And basically we're just gonna cook this until the blueberries pop. Start popping a little bit, and it thickens up into syrup thickness. Whatever that is you may like. I'm just gonna grab my, whew. My daughter doesn't want breakfast tonight, so she's having herself one of her Daya pizzas there. Okay. Bacon's cooking away. Okay, so we're gonna wait for that to thicken up, the bacon to cook, and once blueberry syrup is done. Remember, you don't want this too thick. It's not jam. And honestly, you know it's perfect when it smells like blueberry pie. I forgot to mention too that sometimes instead of sugar, I actually use maple syrup, which is what I did at Christmas time. That was really good. Every bit of that. Oh. Not pretty. That is going to be wonderful on our pancakes. I'm just going to set this aside. I still have a few minutes left on the bacon. The first batch came out, and I cut the bacon in half, so you can see. Next batch went in. So I cut them in half so they fit in there better. And my husband and I are the only ones who eat bacon. We won't eat all of this for supper tonight, but if I'm going to cook bacon, I might as well cook all of it. And we put the rest in the refrigerator, and we have it on sandwiches later this week. I've frozen it, so I've always had some cooked bacon ready. It's just, even in the air fryer, which makes it better and less messy, it's still a pain to cook. So, and I will just be adding, and it's a lot easier to get the bacon grease out of this into my jar. So I'll be adding to that. I've already used some of it, and oh my gosh, it is like amazing. Okay, so we're just cooking the rest of this up, and I'm actually waiting for my daughter to get her pizza out, and then I'm going to get out my griddle to make my pancakes. Okay, my husband's taking over the rest of the bacon, just the last few pieces. I'm just going to melt some butter in our griddle. And I got this, can you see it? There. Rock granite griddle, I think it's called. I love it. It's so good. It's big enough to do a lot, and it's just, it sits here nice. My old one, I found it sloped all the time, and it wasn't big enough either. And it wasn't holding its heat anymore. Okay. So, here we go. Pancake number 1. Uh-oh. It's awful thick. There's one. I might let it sit too long. Thickened up a bit. It's coming out. I wanted to show you how this really works. I took the lid off and it started working. I think there was just too much pressure in there. See? Woo! This thing is awesome. And I didn't pay a lot for it. I got this at the dollar store. And it works great. I love it. You can make them as big as small as you want. So look at those. Beautiful brown color. Almost done cooking these up. Okay, and amongst all this, I had some leftover chicken breast strips that I had cut up and used in the taco soup a couple days ago. And, oh, I'm dropping everything. And if our son doesn't want breakfast, which he'll probably eat cereal if he wants breakfast, because he doesn't really eat pancakes, he can have some chicken and rice. If not, I'm going to save this for tomorrow for, I think, maybe like a fajita bowl or something for supper, because Supper plans are kind of all changed now. But I went ahead and did this tonight. So I know we have plenty of rice. I've got plenty of peppers. I even found another little thing of guacamole. Yeah, I think vegetables might sound good. Don't know if we have any chicken breasts left I can even take out to make them. So we'll see. I'm going to put these back in the oven. He comes down and find out if he wants some rice with it. Let's go with this in. Okay, so this is obviously way more pancakes than my husband and I can eat. Again, this is another thing I like to make a double batch of. We keep them in the freezer or refrigerator. Throw them in the toaster. Boom. You have pancakes on your weekday. So there they all are done. Okay, let's plate it up. Breakfast for supper. And it smells so good. So this is my husband's plate. Yummy. Supper was really good. Filled bellies and that blueberry syrup, amazing. And that we have quite a bit left. That's going to be so good over vanilla ice cream, really good vanilla ice cream. And I might even add some to plain yogurt. So here's our dessert, hot chocolate with frozen whipped cream that I showed you how to do after Christmas. I had a bunch more whipping cream that was going bad, so I made up a whole bunch yesterday. So, wow, that's a really good treat. So that ends day 26. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, get it edited, and get it up for you. And then I'll do 27, 28, 29. And then I'll just have 2 days next week. I find my videos aren't as long if I do 3 days at a time. Just for instance, the last video I shared of the Pantry Challenge took 25 hours to upload. I kid you not, 25 hours. So I'm going to try and keep my videos a little bit shorter so I can get them actually uploaded in a decent time. I'd share a video with you almost daily or every other day if my internet was better. So, okay, cheers to end of day 26. Hope everyone's doing well. God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.